Hello, everybody. So I just wanted to make this little quick intro before the actual intro to this video. So when I went back after I got done recording the game, I noticed that it was messed up on the left hand side, as you can see where my cursor is. So I think in the settings, this was originally set to, I can't find it, but yeah, the settings for display was actually set to I think 1920 or something like that. So this side is cut off during the actual gameplay. I do apologize for that. I was gonna go back and record it, but I felt like it would just be better for me to just have the initial, um, my initial reactions and my initial playthroughs of everything, because that's what I like to do on this channel. So I just wanted to make that little quick note before the actual gameplay starts. So yeah, it's gonna be cut off on this side. If I do play this game more in the future, then I will make sure that that's not a thing. Yeah, I think I got it corrected now. But yeah, just wanted to make that note. So sorry about that. Anywho, to the gameplay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Norco. So this is actually a game that came out a few months ago. I think this was while I was on my little bit of a hiatus, but I actually wanted to check it out. It looks interesting. I haven't watched any gameplay of it because I actually want to play it myself, and it's something that's really narrative driven. And when it comes to games like that, I tend to not watch any gameplay of it because, again, I want to experience it for myself. So I don't know a whole lot about this game at all. I'm not even sure who the developers are or anything. I do know that it did come out a few months ago. I want to say about 2 months ago. It might have been about a month or two ago. Because when I saw it, I actually wanted to turn around and play it and come back with this. But I wasn't really ready at the time. There were still things going on. Anywho, the only thing I really know about it is that I believe you're supposed to be looking for your brother who comes up missing. And this is supposed to be like, I think from what I saw on the game page, gothic southern culture, whatever that means. I've seen robots and a lot of very surreal things in it too, so that's going to be kind of interesting. Also, one thing I saw that was kind of interesting as well about this too is that Norco is actually a real place in Louisiana, which is the setting of this game. And it's funny because I've been to Louisiana before, don't remember it, but yeah, it's a place there. So let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? Norco, Louisiana. Shield hit the stars behind halogen and flame projected onto the sky every night. There was no such thing as silence. The noise never went away. The refinery exhaled an endless sigh. Hmm. This is kind of funny to me because this kind of reminds me of you go to Montgomery or certain parts of Alabama where I stay at. There's a lot of places that's constantly very loud because of either the plants or the railroads. You get kind of used to it after a while, and if you don't have it, it's kind of odd. So I still can't sleep without that sound. In your dreams, the towers were grand cathedrals, places of worship. The swamps hid behind mirrors like spies. The birds transformed into radiant spheres and traced omens above the highway blight. You spent your adolescence sleepwalking between little devastating rituals. Though Blake pleaded, you decided to leave. I didn't care. But for a while you did. You caught out on a grainer to Chicago and onward to the West Coast. You never left Louisiana and thought you'd never return. You thought the ghosts of the lowlands wouldn't find you hiding along the road. The years carried you through overlit suburbs of the vast American limbo, across mountains above cell towers. Thumbing down 99, you saw an old man crouched in a roadside ditch. He was mouthing your name. He had a familiar gaze. He was gone when you wiped the sleep from your eyes. You spoke to Blake, learning of your mother's declining health, her insomnia, her erratic behavior. You ignored the urgency in your brother's voice. By and by, you made your way east. You threw your phone into the Rio Grande. You joined the armies of the Mesa. For months, you were in the company of fugitives. You slept in nuclear tunnels, repairing engines and weaponry. The war was a meme that set Albuquerque on fire. You escaped while the foot soldiers of a pop-out junta bloodied the parched land. I also forgot to mention this is set in the future. While hiding in the berth of a freightliner. I slept. You slept easily as the truck shuttled through the plains. You called home from a landline in a motel somewhere beyond Texas. You knew from Blake's hello that your mother was already dead. You hung up, shouldered your bag, returned to the highway. 5 years have passed. The ghosts were calling you back home. Act 1, Lowland Ghosts. I really like this pixelated art. You awake from a delirious dream to find yourself in your childhood bedroom. Monkey watches you from the corner. That's not creepy at all. Okay, so this is a point and click adventure. I don't think I've really played a lot of point and click adventures on the game. The only one I can think of really is Kentucky Route Zero for real, but that's not really a point and click adventure to a large degree. So let's just click on everything. This is me, my mind map. Okay, this isn't creepy at all. I guess this is just maybe the different people I know. It's like a social link thing. You. We're traveling through the Midwest. The freight cars rattled in the cold dusk as you crouched on the Grainer porch. The cell towers peeked over the flat country, translating the notions of the world. The lights of suburban Memphis, the fences, the traffic, the stark shadows under a lavender blanket of clouds. Afraid, tired, silent, and alert at each terminal, you watched the night decay for miles. Then what? You rode in the back of a van wedged between amplifiers from Chicago to Desmond's. You stole a heater from Walmart and brought it to the poorly attended house show. Desmond's to Kansas City to Denver, through the Midwest. Oh, okay, so this is just kind of telling our past a little bit, across the Rockies. Your friends went south, and you were glad to be alone. You spent long nights along those highways in a shitty sleeping bag. You bathed in rivers. You watched the ocean of outer space. You watched the satellites travel along their course, down the Pacific coast. Summer days arrived. You built a bike in a garage in Eureka and took it south. Generator shows on the beach, interstate on-ramps teeming with personalities. The familiar smile on the face of the old man in the Central Valley ditch. That smile burned its image into your eyes. Okay. I am home again. Because your brother needs you. Because your mom died. I'll finish my thoughts for right now. Yeah, let's go ahead and look through this. Your brother is a lot. Younger, reckless, gets in trouble, spends sleepless nights scrolling image boards, an edgelord, a shitlord, a sensitive soul, compassionate, foolish, can't take criticism, always needs money, tries to help those he loves but often makes things worse. Sounds familiar. What else? Insecure, dysmorphic, constantly checking his reflection, always seeking validation. Was terrified of you leaving, and now he's terrified of you dying. Again. Go close to home there. When I think of him, all I feel is guilt and obligation. No love or anything like it. Your brother is oblivious. Your grandma once said that she didn't expect much from Blake. She said he was short-tempered, oblivious, and couldn't focus. Blake was sitting in the chair across from her, staring down at a tablet. After she left the room, you asked him how he felt. I feel fine, he said. Why? Because of what Gran said, you responded. He looked confused. What'd she say? Dismiss. Catherine. Your mom died. The cancer metastasized. It was in her liver, then her lungs, then it was in her brain. She was on chemo, never finished her third course. On the hospice on Jefferson Highway, Blake said the traffic shook the building. He left before she drew her last breath. Along with the morphine drip and the rattling glass, that's how she died. Well, that's how Catherine died. Ditchman. The smile of the man who crouched in a ditch of the highway revisits your mind. His head was smudged with Wednesday ashes, and mascara ran from his eyes. That was all? Okay. So that's our mind map there. Okay. Monkey. Ugh. God, creepy. Monkey, your best friend, a childhood gift. You spoke with him often when things got difficult, but then you left. He sat here for 5 years collecting dust. 5 years. His eyes fill with anger as he challenges you to return his gaze. I don't want to look at that creepy ass thing. Staring contest part 1, glyphs. Glyphs will appear and flash a pattern. Match the pattern to meet Monkey's gaze. What? Sure? Oh. You successfully meet Monkey's gaze with a cool assurance. However, his expression is unchanged. You stare more intensely. Starting contest part 2, rings. Circles will appear over Monkey's eyes. An outer ring will shrink to the perimeter of the circle. Click the circle when the outer ring locks into place. I'm sorry, what? I might lose this. Ready? Nope. Nope. Is that what it meant? Anger melts from Monkey's face. Take Monkey. You drake Monkey over your shoulder. Okay. All right. I have a monkey. I don't know how I feel about that. It looks like a creepier version of Teddy Ruxpin. A sticker from grade school, half peeled from the window. Okay, that's all I need to know about that. Before I click on the computer. Cool January air spills through the open window. The low sun washes over the neighborhood. A small flock of blackbirds dissolve into the tree line towards the lake. Commuter traffic glints along Apple Street as a pair of wrens weave out of the overgrown lot next door. A plant, I would never. You assume Million has been keeping the plants alive. Million? That's an interesting name. Then again, this is the South. You find a lot of interesting names. A flyer from a show your friend put on a few weeks before you left town. A fight broke out while one of the opening bands played. I got whipped in the face with a bike chain. Nah, I was outside. You didn't feel like being around crowds that night. After the show, you and Blake shot fireworks from the roof of a hotel on Padre Street. Sleepless and sober, the two of you walked back to Norco. You watched the sun climb over the grain elevators. That was what I just looked at. I don't think we have anything else. And I guess this is how you travel. That's probably the main menu. But let's look at the computer first. The laptop your parade gifted you idles on a shoddy particle board desk. Wake laptop. As the screen illuminates, you notice that the signal on the house is dead. No internet. It looks like Blake was using the computer at some point. He left the browser tab open. Sure, let's be nosy. LOL. What kind of name is Quack Job? Just like the name sounds, full of lunatics. App's a way of getting you to join a cult. Worse than them people living in the mall in Kenner. You can't trade that coin they use on hardly any exchanges because everyone know it's a goddamn Ponzi scheme. Mods won't do a thing about shills, but they'll ban you on the spot for using a naughty word. Place is a joke. ClearNet's nothing but celebs, libs, and bots. Seen this exact thing, OP. Still here? Still there? Seen at the base of the upper suction. Okay. Oh, it's more than that. My god, how much stuff is it? Okay, which order is this in? Should I start from the top? Modbot archived all YX2Q posts at SCP Anglers YX2Q. Anybody still post here? Nope, place is a wasteland. Mods are all SJWs. You're posting. Nice one, jackass. Forget I even posted. Wanted to run something by you, gents. Was knocking out sack late in the spillway. Saw a big round glowing thing in the sky. Call that the sun, OP. Funny. Talk to somebody else. Seen it's too near the parish canal. Bruh, that's the sun. Laugh my ass off. So I see that every day, OP. Been rising and setting every day I've been alive. Drop it, fuck. Anybody seen it or not? Nothing like this but birds in them swamps by acting weird. Be acting weird? Oh, excuse me. We've all seen the sun, bruh. Relax. Looked like it was made of glass, maybe. Would glow real bright, then not at all. Move fast. Best pick I could get. All kinds of shit been happening out that way. Get some sleep, OP. Need cash fast? Install Quack Job. Use promo code BLEED3 for up to 0.005 Quack coin. Oh, God. Even in this timeline, there's Bitcoin. Okay. So there's that. I guess we've explored everything in the room. So let's go to the living room. Memories of sleepless nights, the dull refinery hum in the red halogen half darkness, your mom sitting here staring through the window. There was a tension in her demeanor, as if you were interrupting some urgent and obligatory task. You'd continue to the kitchen with no words exchanged. Those nights were rare. Many of them you simply don't remember. Okay, oh, there's a lot of places I can go. Bedroom, kitchen, front yard. Surprised I can't look at that. Photo album. A family photo album. Let's look. Yellowing pages of disposable photographs. Your grandfather. A peculiar look in his face. Impossible to read. Your mom staring at Blake through the obscure lighting. He's dressed as a vampire, tugging at someone's waist. Pleated khaki shorts. A photo labeled Duck. Scene of a barbecue on the lakefront. The man at the center points playfully at the camera. His face is obscured. Turn the page and there's Blue. Your father, though you've never thought of him that way. His skin stained by the sun. A canister of dip shoved into his front pocket. His easy smile, his knowing eyes. You set the book aside. Ah, yes, it wouldn't be the South. People didn't dip. Let's see. Mail. A letter from Shield Oil sits atop a stack of mail. I guess this is supposed to be Shell, because I think I looked online. If I remember correctly, Shell owns Norco, from what I understand. Or they bought it or something like that. Shield Oil Community Notice. Dear neighbor, please be advised. There will be elevated flaring at the site of our number 5 stack near Good Hope on the evening of Thursday, March 19th. This will pose no health risk to residents. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact the Shield Norco Office of Community Engagement. It kind of reminds me when I used to live in Tuscaloosa. I used to live near Nucor Steel, that's there. And there would be times at night or even during the daytime sometimes where there would be this fog and this weird smell in the air and stuff like that. And it was from the steel that they would be using. They would swear up and down that there were no chemicals they were using. They even had like a board that when you passed over the bridge that connected Northport and Holt, they would turn around and have this big ass sign saying, "Oh yeah, there's no chemicals in this stuff." Like, yeah, I'm sure it's not. It's just a mysterious ass fog, I'm sure, with nothing in it but water. Laundry. Your mom's unfolded laundry. That's all I got to say about that. You peruse the titles on the bookshelf. The Western Margin of the Lake. Critiques of Deliberate Externality. Fence line diaspora? Okay, I have been having so much trouble with that word. Let's try the Western Margin of the Lake. Many tragedies have come to pass along the western margin of Lake Pontchartrain. This lake right here, if you ever go to New Orleans, there is a bridge that you pass over, and you have to pass over Lake Pontchartrain. It's literally, let's say this is the edge of the bridge right here. The water is like right here. Like, it is a scary ass long bridge, and it's a very narrow bridge as well, but it's a long ass bridge. So yeah, they even warned you before you get on the bridge that, you know, if you don't get gas, you're kind of screwed basically. So make sure you have a full tank when you go across it. The unnamed hurricane of YW9D left the settlements of Frenier and La Branche in a state of unrecognizable destruction. Those who survived did so by clinging for their lives to the limbs of cypress trees. The fables and secrets of those communities lie with the bones now scattered in the sediment of the lake. All right. Critiques of Deliberate Externality. Shield has acquired much of Norco's most flood-resistant lands through a variety of mechanisms. Madere and Moore, YX1Y, argue that one such mechanism is a process of deliberate externality. This theory posits that key corporate decision makers encourage the company to emit effluent and noxious substances into the environment with the explicit intention of decreasing neighboring property values. This compels residents to sell their properties below market value to relocate as quickly as possible. The criticism that this theory often receives is that it diminishes the importance of slavery in situating black residents along industrial fence lines, Jacobs YX2D, up and down the Mississippi River. In the words of Carter, YX2B, slavery was the deliberate externality from which Shield continues to profit. Pollution was never needed. That's fair. Fence line diaspora. In the end, we decided to leave dimes. It wasn't the cat's cracker or the smells or the fear for our children's health that drove us away, though that played a part. Truth be told, it was the media attention, the spokespeople and activists and academics and all this. I was done with it. I was done being a poster child, done being thought of as a victim. I wanted my experience to be my own, not something to gawk at or dissect in a laboratory. I can understand that. I mean, again, I live in the South, so there's a lot of hyper focusedness on certain things we do. And I do remember a time when Alabama was really unimportant. And recently it's become very important because people want to make it important. So it's irritating. But let's see what we have here. Photograph. A photo of your mom holding Blake as a baby on a beach in Pensacola, Florida. It's winter. You stand beside them, bundled up and laughing as a gust of wind rakes the beach. The sky is bone white. Window unit. The heat of spring will soon arrive, and the mildewed air of the window unit will fill the room. Okay, do we have anything else here? I've looked at that. Let's check the TV. I guess we need to cut it on first. You turn on the television. A chaotic distortion of your mother's memories flash before you. Tune in. What in the actual? Yeah. This, like I said, this really does remind me of if you go to certain parts of Alabama, like Montgomery and such. All right, there's that. Okay, so let's head into the kitchen, shall we? Your mom's painkillers are spilled across the counter. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So Million is the robot. Okay. I'm gonna go back in the house for a second. I didn't mean to go out there. Um, you've discovered so many dead cockroaches in this microwave over the years that it's discouraged you from using it. For several months, a dead baby roach was stuck between the clock's display and the protective screen, blocking the hour. Blake finally shook the microwave aggressively enough that the roach fell into the guts of the machine. You were always frightened by the laundry room. Yeah, we never had a laundry room where I grew up. We had a we had the utility room outside, and that's where the washer and dryer was. And for a long time, we didn't even have like a light out there for real. So you really wanted to get everything done before it got dark, because otherwise you had to go outside and it was pitch black dark. This is also including the fact that where I stayed at, while we stayed in the neighborhood, with people pretty close by and stuff like that, but it was always really dark out there because there was a lot of trees around our house. So, you would get scared and run out there and try and cut the light on and get back in the house. It was memories, memories. Now I don't have to worry about that. So yeah. I guess that is all in the kitchen. Let's go to the attic. Never had an attic. Well, there's an attic in the house, but you couldn't get up there. Boxes. There used to be much more clutter up here. You imagine your mom. You imagine your mom gave it away as the end approached. Mm. And that is all. Okay, so I think we've explored everything in the house. Let's go back outside. I guess we will talk to the robot first. Million sits in her characteristic slouch, lost in thought. Her carapace has taken on the rusted and weather-worn quality of the rest of the machinery in the yard. You recall the night that your mom showed up with her. You and Blake stayed up past dawn, poring over pirated API docs. Her ragdoll mask was slumped on the floor as you wrote the routing procedure. You wonder if such memories hide behind her constellation of eyes. The robot regards you casually. Speak. Okay, you're awake. Um. Yeah, best sleep in years. The sound of the refinery did always help you sleep, didn't it? I like how that kind of keeps up with that. Your choice from earlier. In any case, I'm certain I was no help. She gestures toward the motorcycle at the edge of the carport. I was turning over the engine on that bike to test the coils. It was quite noisy, but they're in good shape now. All I need is a fuse and we can use it to get around while I finish repairing the truck. I heard the phone ringing inside, but I had my hands full. Where can we get a fuse? The gas station just up the road has them, but you may have to persuade Troy to let you in. Were you expecting a call? Many people have been calling since Catherine died. Your brother is usually the one to answer the phone, but I don't know where he went off to. Nah, he's useless. I give Blake a hard time, but he did more to care for your mother during her final days than anyone else. It's been difficult for him. He deserves some time away from the house. Why would so many people be calling? Your mother left behind a lot of loose ends. From what little I know, I gather she was conducting research for a client in Fat City. I sense that many people would like to acquire that data. I'm unaware of where she's hidden it. Perhaps Blake knows its whereabouts. Hmm, who exactly would want to see the data? Your mother spent her entire life researching this town. She knew histories that others have forgotten. History has a lot of value in this place. Who's this client? I haven't a clue. These aren't things she discussed with me. As the cancer spread, she became more guarded with her research. Hmm. I'll say she always kept strange company. An occupational hazard, I suppose. So anyway, I guess that's all. I need to find a fuse. Pry bar. A steel pry bar lies on the ground. I'm guessing I'll need that later. A disintegrating crab net. Blue taught your mom how to make these, and your mom taught you. In the summers, you'd bike to the suction before sunrise, tie chicken necks to the bottom ring of your net, submerge it, sit there nursing your coffee while the swamp raised its voice. You'd come home with a dozen or so crabs snapping and writhing in a burlap bag. You assume your mom hadn't been out on the water much this past year. Okay, and I think that's pretty much everything besides the bike. Your mom's old four-cylinder 350cc bike. It has an extensive rust. It has extensive rust and wear. And the truck. This truck was your grandfather's. You remember riding in his lap while he let you steer. The dead wafts that collected behind the seat. The smell of grease, whiskey, and nicotine. You and Blake would drive the truck into New Orleans on the weekends. No AC, windows down. The rattling chassis was deafening going 75 on Interstate 10. Million has been slowly repairing the vehicle since your mom's death. This also kind of reminds me of when I was younger. My granddad had oh god, it was a Buick. I want to say it was like a 1970 or 1980s Buick, and we used to call it the tank because the thing was made as cars were made back in the day. It was really well made. It was steel, and you could hit that thing with just about anything, and it wouldn't give. And we pitied the fool that would turn around and, if somebody tried to hit it, good luck with that. So, but it was a huge car. Like I used to remember when I was younger, I used to go in the back seat of the car and just lay down back there in the back and go to sleep. And, I would be on the phone sometimes, and it was just nice being back there. But again, long time ago. This game is hitting me with all the nostalgia of my past. The overhead light of the neighbor's kitchen illuminates yellowing wallpaper and unused furniture. Okay. I'm guessing I'm not gonna find a fuse out here by some chance. Mary? Your grandfather's statue of the Virgin Mary sits in the shadows along the crawl space of the house. Your mom fed the neighborhood strays. They must be hungry since she passed. And the house. 3 times this house is flooded. The first flood. The first flood is a shadow of a memory. Placing your feet down on drenched carpet, your mom and grandfather ripping out sheetrock, sitting in a small RV in the backyard, setting dolls on a cluttered little table. The second flood. You were 14. The pumping station failed during a heavy rain. You were in class watching the clouds move upriver. You got a text message from your mom. Stay in Destron. I'll come get you. For 2 weeks, you shared a hotel room with your mom and Blake. She spent all her days gutting the house. In the evenings, you would sometimes help. The third flood. Another pump failure. Your mom hired contractors with the insurance money. She said she was getting too old for it. You were bitter. You blamed her for not selling the house sooner. You stayed with friends in New Orleans. The fourth flood. The fourth flood will follow a slow hurricane, and it will be a calamity. It will leave the entire region submerged as critical levees breach. There will be a massive blackout that lasts weeks. Much of the sewerage infrastructure will be damaged beyond repair. The embattled federal government will do nothing to assist. It will bankrupt the region. Small militant enclaves will form along the high ground of the Mississippi River. They will take to piracy and hijack commercial shipping vessels. Private mercenary forces will retaliate in kind. Slowly, industry will flee this hot zone. The old river control structure will collapse from neglect and sabotage. The Mississippi River will again change its course. Norco, an old abandoned refinery town on a ghost of a river. Your house will be squatted and then razed. Oh. So is that what's finna happen? I'm in danger. Okay. Let's go back inside. So, fuse. Where shall we find a fuse? I thought we visited every place in the inside. So, there shouldn't be anything else unless I missed something in the attic. Or maybe I need to leave the house altogether. Yeah. Doesn't appear to be anything up here. Yeah, so maybe I need to actually just go around or something. So there's home, and then there's Shield Oil Refinery. The sprawling Shield Industrial Complex. Long ago, it was plantation land, cheap and abundant along the Mississippi River. The refinery grew in stages, slowly displacing surrounding neighborhoods. The chemical annex came online later. Children of the enslaved became the neighbors of this machine. Towers. Carbon and alloy and stainless steel. Among the columns sits the catalytic cracking unit that rocked the town. Pipelines. The webwork across high and low, over and under traffic and water and concrete, like veins, like gossamer, like neural circuitry. Lights. Everywhere, metal, hollowed, probing the river's expanse. Coded patterns of warm sodium and cold LEDs, winking, thinking, knowing. Saying something, speaking, burning eyes seeing. Something to decipher in all that Norco light. I remember Blue. You only think that you do. When he died. Part of her did too. Okay, so I guess I do have to find it here. But where? Backyard, the street. Oh, I didn't go to the street. So I have sisters, snowball stand, and this door, and this sign. Bayou private investigators. We snoop for you. Little sister. The turtle. He crawled out the trash can. Don't touch him, see? He's dirty. No, he's not. Turtles are always clean. They live in water. He was in a trash can, though. Trash water is not clean. We've got to go, see? Yeah. And then, yeah. Just let me stare a little longer. He's pretty. Oh. Snowball stand? The snowball stand is closed for the winter. The lights are on in Bayou private investigators. You knock. No answer. Okay, so there doesn't appear to be anything to do here. Let's go to Floodgate Tavern. Floodgate Tavern added to the map. The Floodgate Tavern. Many shield workers gather here after their shifts. It's closed. Should be open later in the evening. Alright, let's go back to Apple Street. And we shall go to Dime's Discount. Guessing I'm gonna just have to get a fuse from in here. A film crew is set up along the river road. Several floodlights illuminate a gruesome murder scene. Two men stand pensively above a corpse. Approach the set. As you near the set, a small, energetic man jumps from his chair. Attention, dumbass! Can't you see we're trying to shoot here? Sorry. Nope. What are you filming? It's a detective drama called None of Your Goddamn Business. Any other questions? Sounds cool. So is this like a murder scene? Keep it up and it's going to be. Hey. You know what? Wait a second. You from around here? Yeah. We could use some cultural expertise, you might say. We're filming a Bayou cop drama and all these knuckleheads are from LA. So is this like True Detective? An actor on set turns towards the director. I told you, Kevin, I'm from Texas. Oh, that's right, Noah. I forgot. Your Harvard-educated daddy bought a boutique ranch outside Austin. Well, that don't make you a cowboy, hoss. Now hush up before you scare off the yokel. Okay, rude. The director returns attention to you with a mild look of disgust. Help us out, will you? The script needs some work. What do you say? I almost want to say fuck you, but I'm kind of curious. My pride. My southern pride. Fine. Great. Hey, Noah, get over here so you can learn something from this stupid redneck. Jesus. I should have walked away. The actor smolders. He whispers under his breath. I'm a redneck. Fine, Noah. You're a redneck. A real salt of the earth kind of guy. But as luck would have it, we came across an even dumpier hayseed than you, okay? So just take a knee. Good God, this... Oof. Alright, anyway. We need some good slang. What do you call a villain? A bad apple? A lowlife? An asshole? I mean, yeah, you can just say an asshole. Bad daddy? Is that a New Orleans thing? New Orleans holds a, I mean, Louisiana is kind of different from the rest of the South. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've always felt like just Louisiana is just like, it's in the South, but it's not. Because there's just different things there. So I don't know anything about Bad Daddy. I would just call you an asshole. That's it? An asshole? Thanks a lot, William Faulkner. That's real creative. Like, get out of here, you're holding up a production. All right. So we've met Director Jackass over here. Freight loader. A freight loader is being repaired in the Batur Woods over the levee. I think it was Bad Daddy though. But yeah. Again, I'm not from Nolans. Gas station. So many evenings spent watching traffic pass by this gas station. Little has changed. The neighboring business still sits abandoned. The surrounding streets are quiet and empty. Let's go in. Well, well, well. Oh God, why did you have to rise up like this? Look who's back. What happened? Carnival forgot you beside the road? And you even brought your little doll. That's cute. Wow, Troy, you look like shit. Not even gonna start with you. How come the rest of your family's so chill, but you're so uptight? Like you know anything about my family. Bruh, ain't like Norco, some big metropolis. I used to go out to LeBron with Catherine and Blake while you were busy, hell, what were you doing? Bleaching your hair or some shit? And now they got all these clowns like you saying Catherine dead. They wouldn't let her go that easy. You're trolling me about my dead mom? Trolling? You're so damn sensitive. Can't say nothing around you. Your mom was excavating all along the rim of the lake. That's important. She used to pay me to help from time to time, matter of fact. She needed somebody smart, somebody vigilant, somebody like me. Especially with Shield snooping around. I seen some wild shit out them swamps with Catherine. What kind of shit? I won't bother telling you about it. Might hurt your brain. And anyhow, this ain't story time. Not letting you in this gas station. Goddamn company that runs this dump did me dirty. They swapped me with an ATM machine for speaking truth. Ain't letting nobody through till I get an apology. Very least. That sucks. Don't patronize me. Me with your weak pity. If you really want to get through, go get me some of them pills your brother was selling. That might persuade me. Fight or leave. I'm not going to fight. Yet. Yeah, shuffle off then. Was my brother selling my mom's pills? A little shit? Of course he was. But you're... Oh, hell no. Not right now. Okay. We'll come back to that later. Let's go home. And we will get those pills. Kitchen. You pocket your mom's pills. Okay. Alright, Dime's discount. Got me them pills? On the way you getting through. Yeah, I got your pills. Smart move. I'll let you cross the picket line this time, punk. You calling me a scab? Oh, they like replaced you. My god. Yeah, I need a fuse. Fuses hang on the shelf. That's all you need to know about them. You grab a fuse. I detect that you have merchandise in your possession. You must remove any unpurchased items from your backpack and scan them in order to exit the store. To use an item in your inventory, drag the item from the inventory menu to the intended target. Okay. Dog food. Dusty bags of dog food line the shelf. Wasn't there a stray cat too? Candy, protein bars, bubblegum, breath mints, taffy, etc. Price scanner. A manual price scanner. Cigarettes galore. Yep. Immaculately stocked cigarettes. You wonder if this place ever started checking IDs. During high school, friends in the city would drive all this way just to get booze. Yeah, sometimes they're a little hit or miss with those things. Let's see. Inventory. Fuse. Kiosk. Has no effect. Dime's discount. The disembodied illuminated head of the kiosk levitates silently in the browser tab. Talk to it? I detect that you have merchandise in your possession. You must remove any and blah blah blah. Okay, I get you. But I did the thing. This item has no effect. What am I doing wrong? Fuse for your mom's motorcycle. Oh, I have to put it over here. Jesus. You scan the fuse. Thank you for your purchase. So what is money like in this future of ours? Film crew set up along the river road. Okay, you got nothing else to say? Fine by me. Alright, let us go home. That's the street. I need to go to the backyard. Okay, so do I need to just put it on the bike? Yep, I need to give it to Million. You got the fuse? Good. We'll be able to use the bike to get around town until I'm done with the truck. It concerns me that Blake still hasn't returned. He's been spending a lot of his time at Sarpy Paperbacks lately. Perhaps we should look for him there. Sure. Let's go. Airline Highway. The sky bleeds a color you knew as a child. Airline Highway passes beneath your feet. Million has joined your party. Interact with party members by clicking their portrait in the party menu. If you're stuck, they may be able to help. Nice. Million shouts over the wind. The bike runs much better now. You can use it to get around during your visit. Where could Blake be? He spends much of his time at Sarpy Paperbacks. Perhaps we should check there? How's Blake been? The year that you left, Blake became uncontrollable. His behavior troubled Catherine deeply. He was beginning to remind her of your grandfather. After he was expelled from Destron, he began running drugs into the parish. He made himself many enemies. He put those things behind him after her illness, but now that she's gone, I'm uncertain what to expect. This place can ruin people. Perhaps. I won't apologize for leaving. No one is asking you to, Kay. How have you been? I'm always the same, Kay. Always the same. Is that bad or good? Whichever you prefer. Fair enough. What's it been like around town? Shield has been expanding since you left. Catherine took your grandfather's boat into the lake to investigate reports of construction in the swamps along the shoreline. She assumed it to be unpermitted Shield activity. She was unable to find any evidence of it. However, it was clear that she found something during that investigation. What was it? I don't know. Perhaps you do? So what makes you think she found something? I've known Catherine for a long time. Her behavior changed. In any event, something drew her to the lake in the months before her death. Okay. What's that? Monkey, what's up? Monkey stares at you. You stare at Monkey. Keep staring. He stares with more intensity until his gaze passes through you. You become invisible to him. Keep staring. Little circles of light pool in the doll's tired eyes as they watch the infinite space beyond your being. The air that hangs between your eyes and his is a vacuum of utter stillness. You look away. Okay. Alright, let's see what other things we've discovered. Oh god. So it looks like some things have been updated as well. Maybe we should start with the... Well, let's start with the flashing stuff. Blue. Blue is a vague memory. You don't remember Blue. Only the things he left behind. Photographs, cologne, tools, the name that your mother kept. Even the pictures that have survived are too faded to make out. Okay. Let's do Million. Million was... So do we choose this, or we get to choose? Well, that's right, we get to do both. A security android. She guarded the perimeter of the aluminum refinery in Gramercy. One day she ran away. Why? You don't know. To find her family. Million. Oh, okay, so in that case, we actually chose it. Interesting. I didn't realize that's how that was going to play out. Your mom was conducting research in the lake. Your mom was investigating reports of unpermitted shield construction in the lake. While there, she saw something. But what? Oh, so by keeping up with certain things you hear, you unlock certain things about what's going on? Interesting. Well, let's see. Reports of construction. Your mom was investigating reports of construction in the lake. She found no evidence of it, nor who might be behind it. Your mom saw something in the lake. So I wonder if we unlock certain things by remembering it or just going along the dialogue options. Will this open up certain dialogue options in the future? So we should really review the mind map a lot more. I'm also seeing little silhouettes of certain things too. Interesting. Troy knows your family. He was buying pills from Blake and occasionally helping your mom with her research. He says she was conducting research in the lake. Your grandfather, Peter Pops Pierre Malencon, he passed away when you were a teenager. He seemed to court controversy, though as a child you never understood why. An old friend of your mom's, your memory of him is scattered and vague. Shield is an oil refinery. Shield Gulf South is a regional subsidiary of a transnational oil empire. It holds a large share of leases in the Gulf of Mexico and refines crude oil right here in Norco. The chemical annex sits on the other side of town from the refinery. It produces the feedstock for plastic consumer products. Shield owns half the town. Shield. I'll finish my thought for right now. Okay. So we've checked all our memories and such. Let us continue. We are going to Sarpy Books. Okay, we can go inside. There's a driver. There's some teens. There's a dog. There's the bookstore. Checks to cash. A young man leans against his station wagon while scrolling idly on his phone, his silhouette darkened by the fluorescent glare of the payday lender's sign. Sure, let's talk. Started doing this rideshare thing a few weeks ago. Kinda hate it. Why? Pays like shit. Spending hours a day making small talk with randos is melting my brain. Nearly broke an axle driving over a pothole in Hollygrove. This is my grandpa's car. If I trash it, he'll kill me. Drove anyone interesting? There's all types around here. Some guy drove out to the middle of the swamp. It was like 2 a.m, asked me to wait. He got out, took off his clothes, jumped in the bayou, came back up a minute later with a bag, toweled off, got back in. Sir, this was a crime that you just participated in, probably. Found that to be pretty fucking weird. I don't know. A while back, I drove some lady out to the medical district. She was an odd one. Seemed kind of sick. Asked me all kinds of questions. Do I ever pick up random signals on the radio? Weird shit like that. There's just all types. Was that my mom? Okay. So I guess that's that. Teens, this should be fun. 2 teens nod and gesture excitingly while bouncing between topics. Oh god. BMX. Where's this dog come from, bruh? Don't know. She's been sitting here for a while. You seen her eyes? Them eyes are something, bruh. Dog. A stocky pit bull with piercing green eyes watches the horizon with a neutral demeanor. I don't know if you should mess with that dog. I'm hesitant of pits. Yep. As you reach down to pet the dog, she shows her teeth and growls softly. Yeah, I'm backing up. It is your business. I am staying away from that. Alright, there's nothing else out here? No, there is not. Okay, let's go into the bookstore, perhaps? Your mom used to come here to dig through the stacks. Among the heaps of used romance novels and westerns, she's always managed to find some occult artifact. The owner is also the landlord. You imagine that's the only way he manages to keep a place like this running. Over the years, they've experimented with other revenue-generating schemes. For a while, you could get your phone repaired here. Then they tried selling vape cartridges. Then kratom. Then anime wall scrolls. LSU yard ornaments after that. You remember seeing online that they were trying to do some kind of acupuncture thing. In the end, the schemes always fail, and only the paperbacks remain. We had a little shop like that in Tuscaloosa. I think it's actually still around, and it's been around for as long as I remember, but it's a guy that sells comics. I think it's actually gotten bigger, but to my understanding, I think he just has a lot of money, so that's how he pretty much funds it, but it's been there forever. There's also a used bookshop that I've seen that I've never went to. It looks suspicious. Hello, cat. You wonder how anyone can read in this dim and cluttered bookshop. As your eyes adjust, you see Blake's childhood friend Erica waiting behind the counter to greet you. Kay? And Million, when'd you get back to town? I've been in Norco for quite some time. Perhaps you're misremembering, Erica. Weird. I guess so. But anyhow, Kay, you're looking rugged these days, old friend. Heard you ran into Troy. That guy, my god, he's such a clown. I was keeping up with your travels online, but haven't seen you post in a while. You tossed your phone into the Rio Grande? Let's be friendly. I have so much to tell you. I can only imagine. I'd love to grab a drink and hear all about it. For what it's worth, things have been eventful around here as well. Floods, fires, gunfights out in the lake. Rarely a dull moment these days. And of course, your mom was always in the mix. I'm convinced she never slept. I'd be driving in late from the city and swear to God I'd see her alongside Airline. She'd have a headlamp on, dredging trash out the burrow ditch. Up until the very end, she never let her illness stop her. I'll miss the hell out of that woman. Same. You and your brother have been living in my heart since I heard the news. I know you weren't always on the best of terms with your mom, but she loved and admired you. She talked about you constantly. I think it used to make Blake upset. He felt like you were the favorite. He's absurd. Yeah, he's a dweeb, but we still love him. You seen Blake lately? Yeah, I saw him just yesterday. He hasn't been around the house? He has not. He said he was heading to Floodgate Tavern when I saw him. He may have gotten wasted. I know Gus let him sleep behind the bar a couple times. Did he know you were coming, Kay? He never mentioned it. I figured he'd try to avoid me. Yeah. He can be like that sometimes. I've had to be delicate with him recently. If I ask him how he's doing, he goes quiet. If I offer help, he doesn't return my texts. He's broken. Sometimes I see glimmers of light in his personality, but it's rare these days. If I hear from him, I'll tell him to find you. Okay, so we need to go to the tavern now. Hello, Crouton? So this here is the illustrious Crouton. We found him behind the dumpster, out back, licking cardboard. Whatever you do, don't try to pet him. He's a devil. I've got scars all over my hands from this damn cat. Do it anyway. Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. Crouton usually bites strangers. He must like you. The cat loves me. I'm a little concerned that it has hard eyes. You scan the titles on the shelf. Don't be a vampire. You pick the slim self-published paperback from the shelf and flip to a random page. Another dark and lonely night spent in the cavern of despair, hidden from the daylight. Blackout curtains are all that defer my eternal death. Thought being a vampire would be sexy, but it's not. It's awful for your skin. I look pathetic. Also, blood tastes like bong water. Didn't think it'd be like this. Good Hope Cemetery easement? A carbon copy of a document authored by the St. Charles Parish Planning Committee. The document outlines the parish's intention to secure a roadway through a 90-meter stretch of the Shield Industrial Complex. This easement would allow the descendants of those entombed to visit the Good Hope Cemetery. The grave sites are currently surrounded on all sides by the refinery. Pass. Alright. Hello, cat. What's up with this counter, though? Okay. He seems to be getting a little excited. I don't know how to feel about that. Oh. Right? Wow, I've never seen a cat purr this hard. Maybe you two should slow down. I'm gonna try it one more time, and then after that, I'm leaving. Oh crap, I think I forgot. Right? No, really. Stop touching the cat. Crouton looks like he's fixing to explode. One more time. Oh God. Oh God. I blew the cat up. What the fuck just happened to the cat? Kay, God damn it. I told you to stop fucking with the cat. Did he just launch through the ceiling? What the hell just happened? That is a very great question. That is a great question. I am so sorry. Oh, you don't look happy with me. Kay, I love you. I know you're going through a hard time, but I'm a little pissed you launched the cat through the ceiling. Just give me some space, okay? I'm so sorry. I didn't know the cat was gonna. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go. Overworld is blocked. Oh. Sorry. Okay, bye. I do hope Erica is correct and that Blake's absence is due to nothing more than another drunken night. My intuition leaves me with a sense that something is wrong. Do you feel it too, Kay? Does something feel strange to you? Yeah, there's a lot that feels strange. The cat just went through the goddamn ceiling. Are we playing as Catherine now? Several weeks ago. Greater New Orleans Neural Versioning Clinic. What brings you here tonight? I want a record for my children. I don't want to leave my kids alone. They may still need me. I understand. And you were referred by Mr. Richard? Duck, that's what everyone calls him. Yes, Duck. We followed his branch with some interest. Who hasn't? I gather we'll be discussing this in more detail as things progress. For now, let us begin with a simple exercise. I'd like to talk about your earliest memory. It's okay. I mean, it's of pine trees, yes? That's right. Tell me about them. They grew from the concrete. And cracked the driveway. And the concrete broke into pieces. They made your father upset. He'd see them and frown, but he'd remain silent. He'd sit quietly in the truck, dissatisfied. I wouldn't say a word. Speaking in those moments made you a fool in his mind. Your father's house. I mean, she stayed there, so she probably felt safe there. I wish I could have stayed, but I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have it. And that's why you married Blue? Yes, to have somewhere to go. We bought our little place on Good Hope Street. The whole thing was a mistake. When I told him I didn't love him, it was in my father's voice. I told him I never loved any man. Was it true? Maybe I'll go with no. That was a difficult night for you. It didn't feel real. Why? The spillway was black that evening. The spillway was flooded. It looked like black marble. Where was Blue? He sat at the window all night. The east-facing window? Yes. When you stood over him to apologize, you saw the flare stack of the refinery in his eyes. I never apologized. So maybe I will save this. Or maybe I should save all of it. How was it after that? In the time before he died? Oh, this is just, you can shape the, I guess you can just shape the memories and you can delete it and start over, I guess. How was it after that? In the time before he died? We circled each other in the wide orbits. I'd hide at the center of the house nursing Kay and only leave when I heard him step out. He'd sleep on the couch or next to her crib. He'd sing her old Cajun lullabies, pet her head, whisper to her about his life. Then there was the explosion. When the cat cracker blew, they say he fell 5 stories. We went to identify his body on Thursday night. I remember the tempo of the streetlights. The police scattered across the East Bank. I carried Kay in a blanket. She never cried. We were quiet, she and I. Tell me about this man. I would see him from time to time around Norco. This was many years back. But several weeks ago, Blake saw someone passing by the house. I think it was him. Why? I just do. The robot is no longer there to deter him. Million? Yes. Could be it. What was your first encounter with Million? Let me think. She came to me in the parking lot. Kay was about 12 years old at the time. She knew Blue from his days at the aluminum refinery. I stared for a long time into her constellation of eyes. They swirled in a kind of desperation. I took her home, knowing it was another mistake. You were reckless in those days. I welcomed any trouble I could find. Surely it's not going to allow me to keep saving all these memories. What is the significance of this image to you? Well, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. It's a sphere. It followed me in the lake. When? Recently, a few weeks ago. This is where Mr. Richards' branch factors into your biography. Duck's version escaped a hard fork, an extremely rare instance, and grew into some kind of monster. It began speaking to me through the radio. It told me to install an app. An app? Yes. I think it has something to do with the thing, the sphere, wherever it is. But so long as it pays, I don't care. I can use the money. The app pays? Yes. I see. It seems this is the last control point that you submitted. Would you like to include any additional thoughts or memories? Anything not included in the intake form? No, that should be enough. I will now begin disconnecting the sensors. A slight feeling of nausea and disorientation is normal and no cause for harm. Thank you for your patience, Miss Medea. Okay, so I am actually going to, I am going to actually stop it right here. Can I save it? Yes, I sure can. But yeah, I'm going to stop it right there. So, yeah, that was Norco. I don't know if I'm going to actually continue to play it. It was actually something that I was just thinking about doing on the weekends, is, showing off a couple games. And if they're like, maybe I'll play them throughout the week. And this is actually not that long of a game. I think the longest playthrough that I have seen on YouTube is like maybe 6 hours or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a relatively long game. Now I'm sure that there's many different endings and so on and so forth, and I will be, more than happy to turn around and play those different endings. That's kind of what we do here on this channel. So yeah, if you like the video, like the video. You see more if you've, oh god, I messed that up completely. If you like the video, like the video. And yeah, we will go from there. So if you want to see more content like this, subscribe. I have a lot of things on the channel, and I will have many other things coming in the future. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section, and I will get to them as soon as possible. So yes, this has been Norco. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.